purpose. So we're all here today to be part of the signing of a bill that's going to put $40 million a year available for doing the infrastructure, fixing up everything, so San Francisco can take the lead in the World Cup race and make it great. What a great place. And now what the bill does, of course, it makes some money available, and it also cuts a lot of red tape, streamlines the process, and I'm not going to tell you how it does that because you wouldn't want to know. But it does cut out a lot of people who could block things, and that's the key here. If you want to get anything done, you need a bill, you need me to sign it, and then you get it done. So that's what's going to happen here today. If you bring the bill up, I'll get it done, and we can start getting the money flowing. Come on.
All right. Going over. We get to witness this.
You witness it, yes.
All right.
Who started this whole thing? Was this your thing, Gavin? Did you?
Okay.
Or was this Willie?
No, Gavin started.
Gavin, you're the guy. Okay. You get the pen.
Oh, God bless. All right.
It's
I
not
need
a
one
good-
as well. Actually,
Okay, good.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Now, I want to introduce our speaker, John Perez. Nothing happens in Sacramento unless John says, okay. He's been a very powerful speaker, a great partner, and a wonderful public servant for the people of California. John Perez.
Thank you, Governor. I'm the token non-mayor on the stage today. It is great to be here with the governor as he signs this important piece of legislation into law. This is a crucial step in ensuring that we bring America's Cup to San Francisco. It is a prestigious event that will not only bring tourists and revenues to California, but will also add to the esprit de corps of California. With some of the most beautiful coastlines in the United States and world-class cities like San Francisco, California is the natural home for the America's Cup, and our state will be proud to host this event. I'm proud of the work of my colleague, Assemblymember Tom Ammiano, who brought this legislation forward, and I want to thank him for his efforts, even though he couldn't be with us this afternoon. California, together, is rebuilding from a recession in ways large and small, and this event is part of that effort. We're deeply proud of our state, and we're honored to host the America's Cup to add a touch more glamour and excitement to a city that has so much of that to offer. And now I'd like to bring up the wonderful mayor of the city and county of San Francisco, Mayor Ed Lee.
Thank you, Speaker Perez, and Governor, thank you very much for that swift, do-good action. And I want to just acknowledge there's so many people here today that have been so much a part of this. And first and foremost, though, I'm going to thank my predecessor because, Gavin, I know how hard you worked on this and the pressure that we're under for meeting all those time frames and the people you had to pull together and the work you had to do with the board to get this agreement and to get us moving on it. And I want to thank you very much because it's what you've always said. This is a big deal. And it's getting bigger every time we work on it. And I know everybody here, from the governor on down, we're working hard to make sure this is successful. From the event authority, from Mark Beal's work that's going on, and the organizing committee, from our friends in the community. I know, Sophie, you're working really hard with our communities to link them all up in the subcommittees, to our rest of our supervisors. See, Ross Mercury is here, and David Chu was here earlier, working together with our labor unions, with our agencies, with police and fire. There are so many agencies putting their heads together to make sure that we honor something that's in this agreement. This agreement won't really be effective unless we prove that there's going to be an increased economic activity as a result of this wonderful event, and there will be. There's going to be over $1 billion of economic activity, 8,800 new jobs, 700 of them for construction alone. That's the kind of economic activity that's going to be here. So it's not just a great boating activity. All of the labor people who are here today know it's going to really be a great economic boost. The port knows that. The city knows that. Our Office of Economic Development knows that, and that's why we're all here together. And we want to make sure we do everything right. And by the end of this year, people like Ed Riskin and John Rayam and the Planning Commission will have that final draft of the EIR done. We're moving ahead to make sure all of this gets put in place. But I want to let you know that I am grateful, Lieutenant Governor, I'm grateful, Willie Brown, I'm grateful, Speaker Perez, and I'm very grateful, Governor, for you signing this because we do need that economic stimulus. This is our own stimulus to do something for ourselves, for our region, for our city, and ultimately for our state. We've got to pull ourselves together for this event and show the rest of the world we do it right here. And we begin already in November. Did you know that America's Cups, the races actually start in San Diego in November? I'm looking forward to it because on November 9th, I either jump into this water or jump on a boat in November, and I'm going to jump on that boat in San Diego. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming together.
I'll just fill the void. I saw a mic. I don't see these very often nowadays. Let me welcome all of you back here. We've had many events here, and it's wonderful to see everybody. And I just want to pay particular respects to Mayor Lee and his outstanding team that he's organized. His challenge is self-evident. It's implementation. It's one thing to set something up. It's one thing to sign the agreements and organize it, to have the announcement with Larry Ellison and the team itself. But it's another to actually implement it and make it real. And I think he's doing an outstanding job in partnership with some outstanding leaders that are assembled here today. No one more important than Mark Buell, who really stepped up and stepped in and continues to do an extraordinary job to put a public face and create that public interface between City Hall and the citizens of San Francisco that need to step in and help support our general fund by offsetting some of the costs associated with putting this event together. I see Lucy Jewett, who was one of the first people we called after I called Willie Brown. When, first thing you got to do is call Willie Brown to make sure that we're on the right path. And it's great to see former Speaker Mayor Brown here, as well as our current Speaker, who was among truly the first few people we called to get his support to be on our honorary committee. And he committed himself and understood immediately what this would mean for our state. And I'm very proud of his efforts behind the scenes to steward this bill through in partnership with Tom Ammiano and the Port, Monique Moyer and Brad Benson and so many others that are here. And I congratulate you for all your hard work in getting this bill on the governor's desk. And of course, we thank the governor for his support in signing the bill and doing it here in San Francisco and highlighting again what's at stake. And let me just very briefly remind you what's at stake. We're in a state with close to 2.2 million people that are unemployed, second highest unemployment in the United States of America. If you look at the June non-seasonally adjusted unemployment numbers, we've got counties in this state, 21 of them, with unemployment north of 15%. Imperial County in July, their unemployment number went over 30% to 30.8%. It's staggering. That's within our own state, not another part of this country or someplace outside of our borders. That's within the great state of California. We got to get people back to work. And one thing I've come to appreciate is Sacramento, just like Washington, D.C., doesn't create jobs. It's regions, it's cities, and it's regions rising together. You got to have a macroeconomic development strategy, and you've got to have a microeconomic development strategy. In so many ways, what we're celebrating here today is that kind of initiative of creating regional economic stimulus. It was noted that this is $1 billion plus. Mayor Lee made that point of economic activity. Actually, that number is modest. When we put together the economic development report, we wanted a baseline, raw, not overstated report. And that report, it's important to look at because I keep reading this $1.2 billion figure. That was not in the report. This is a minimum of about $1.3, almost $1.4 billion of economic activity within this city and region, but $1.8 billion across the state and across this country. Not just the 8,800 jobs within this city and region, but over 11,000, close to 12,000 jobs across our country. And those are real numbers because the America's Cup has been vetted in the past. They've done post-economic analysis of what other host cities have generated in direct and indirect jobs. And in each and every case, they noted that their projections initially understated the ultimate realities of the race. So I have great confidence and great expectations. Not only we're going to see more of this activity out on the bay behind me, which has gotten more of your attention than my words, but also we're going to start seeing the region come together in a way the region needs to come together across this collective effort, organizing around this bid. And I'll just say one final thing. One of the great things about an effort like this is that everyone raises their game. So you have the direct benefit of the work we're going to be doing on the pier and port, but it's what other people are doing, dusting off old plans, businesses that were looking down here that weren't that interested, now are looking again down here. Even the folks at Caltran that recognize they got a project they got to complete behind us by 2013, and put a little emphasis on making sure they hit their deadlines as well, because they want to showcase that to the world with the appropriate backdrop of the America's Cup. So when you know everybody, all eyes are going to descend upon you, and hundreds of thousands of people are going to come in, everybody's sort of dusting things off. Everybody's out there just doing a little bit more, and that goes to spirit and pride, the things you can't legislate. So it's in that spirit of that new sense of spirit and pride that defined this effort and all the great work that we're doing to make this real, that I'm just honored to have been invited here, and very grateful for this important moment, and very thankful to all of you that really were the inspiration and really were the driving force behind this effort in the first place. Thank you. It's my great honor to introduce to you Mayor Brown, who just said you were supposed to bring me up.
The governor and I were the only two that called. I don't get briefed anymore.
Governor, Mr. Mayor, the Lieutenant Governor, and Mr. Speaker, it was almost 30 years ago, I believe, when somebody first said something to me about the America's Cup. It was somebody related to Lucy, and it was because San Francisco and the San Francisco Yacht Club was going to sponsor a team. I had no idea what they were talking about, but I was speaker and I couldn't admit that, and I paid close attention, because you see, instantly San Diego stepped up, and Dennis Corners and his crowd really began to make the evidence of the America's Cup totally and completely a reality, and to make it possible. And it obviously was a howling success. The state of California, Governor, participated in that effort as well. And so when Mayor Newsom called me and said, we want to do something about making sure we get a real shot at the America's Cup, and I want you involved, I said, what is it going to cost me? He said, you don't worry about the cost. Mark Buell will pay for it. And I, of course, would volunteer anytime Mark is picking up the tab. And so I became a part of that effort. And it really is, as Mayor Newsom and the other speakers before me have so generously indicated, it is going to be a real shot in the arm for the series of economic development activities over the next 3 years or more. If that was not a reality, Jim Wonderman wouldn't be here. There's no way he would bother to show up unless it was regional in every respect. He has abandoned the city in terms of exclusivity. He's greater than that. And I'm delighted to see that happens. I also saw Will Travis out there, Brother Newsom, because he reminded me that he defeated me once on something I wanted to do. I wanted to fill the bay to make a new airport runway. And I know that alarms some people, but you wouldn't have the problem if you had done my job. But Will Travis stopped, and he did not succeed. But it has, and it is, a real spirit. And the business of making sure it happens, it works only because from the governor's leadership through the entire power operations in Sacramento to the local under Ed Lee, the process that David Chu and the board brings to bear, it is a reality. And I can't wait to see those huge boats, those things that can't go under the Golden Gate Bridge, by the way. That's the only, you know, Newsom is credible with facts and numbers. The only one he missed was the size of the boat and whether or not it can go under the bridge at low tide or high tide. And it is clear that those boats and the mask is so great that there's going to be some real question about whether or not they can actually get under the bridge at certain times of day. I'm told by Lucy and others who are very familiar, this will be the first time that people will really be able to watch in real life and in real time, and not just on television, an America's Cup race. I anticipate, and I think we all should anticipate, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Mr. Mayor, and Mr. Speaker, that this is not the only time San Francisco will have it. We win it in 2013, and we keep it in perpetuity, and we just keep on keeping it like it was one time kept on the East Coast. That's the goal, because it then becomes an intimate part of the entire delivery system for all of California. And I'm just delighted to be allowed to hang with Mark and try to produce the resources that need to be done. I must tell you that my words are on behalf of a whole host of other people who follow Mark's leadership. And in conversations with Dianne Feinstein, she wanted you to know that she's equally as involved and as committed as any of us who are on the stage. Thank you.
Well, I think that ends the program. I don't think there's any questions. We've heard a definitive statement of where we're going. So I think it's great, and I think we can keep it in perpetuity, as long as we keep these political leaders in perpetuity. Thank you.